Let's go!
There is a big Harada update in regards to Tekken that I kind of wanted to maybe give my my take on what the hell's going on there. And it's good news. Believe it or not, it's good news. There was definitely something that went down at Bandai Namco with Tekken. There's a lot of stuff that went down over the past like 24 hours with Harada talking about what went down with T8, why things were the way they were, and, you know, stuff like that. There was a lot of assumptions that why this stuff happened, why did they lie to us, you know? And to me, it was always very weird in the situation in Tekken 8 Season 2, as they're moving in a positive direction already, you know? We're not there yet, but already things are looking good. It was very odd to me that everything the director of the game was communicating was lining up with expectations and was moving towards a direction that seemed like positive before Season 2 happened. Everything that happened in Season 1 also lined up with that. So it was very weird that by the time Season 2 drops, what is the craziest change in Season 2 that doesn't line up with what they're talking about? The characters were insane. The core system mechanics, a lot of that shit was better. The sidestepping thing wasn't bullshit. They were absolutely right on that. A lot of the differences in how like heat works and heat engagement, yeah, many of those things were a bit better. And it's like, okay, this is cool. However, characters themselves were just nuts. Like, what the? It was like characters did not line up with the direction of what was happening in the season. It was very weird. So to me, in my interpretation, there was a massive communication issue. Overall game design was not lining up with character design, and the characters were just nuts. And now we're on this road of just hoping the characters are gonna eventually make sense with the rest of the game. They're still working on it, you know? And he's talking about how a lot of this stuff is character stuff. A lot of homing, follow-up attacks, homing moves that are less risky now, homing attack success, the reward is too high, all this crazy shit. It's mostly boiling down to individual character stuff is just insane. And he's right. He's 100% right, dude. Harada says they confirmed that his perception of the matter with the final battle and tuning teams. They seem to understand your frustrations and are working to improve, so give them a little more time. A general response to a situation that we've already known. They're working in a positive direction, so let's follow up and see what happens in some of the other messages. Harada saying, my post was a bit wordy on this matter, but to be precise, the battle and tuning team has submitted the first ROMs for the fix for this. So ROMs is in actual like game, big game updates. And the first phase of it will be introduced in mid-May. A reminder, if there is a chance of this game likely getting really goddamn cool and mostly staying a similar game that still has heat and all that crazy stuff, it's not going away, but just feels more fair, that's probably gonna take the majority of Season 2. He says the first update's in mid-May. Cool. I don't expect a ton of character stuff, but cool. Furthermore, after that, there will be another update in June that will be related to the defensive side of the game. So to me, this feels like this is almost an address of core system mechanics. I would not be surprised if they bring back KBD, bro. To me, that's not the greatest news because I never practiced that shit. I never actually got good at it, you know? But if the answer is to actually open up backwards movement a little bit more and have lateral movement also be good, I would not be surprised if that's something that makes a lot of the community relatively happy. Moving sideways and moving backwards and moving forwards, those are not bad things, dude. I think that'll actually make the game way better if that changes, you know? Harada, honestly, does the dev team even know what they want with Tekken 8? Every new patch seems like a new experiment. The disconnect between the player base and the development team is worrying. He's not wrong. In the defense of the developers, in Season 1, they were moving in a positive direction. The entirety of Season 1 started with a whole bunch of dumb shit that was in the game all over the place, and they were really polishing all of that shit, man. Season 2, before it was out, was really close to being awesome. Like, this game is right there. And as soon as we heard about the movement shit, we're like, oh, dude, if we can actually, like, sidestep things more reliably, that's gonna be incredible. The character changes pretty much exclaimed otherwise. Let's see what Harada has to say about this, because it's a lot. 8 was challenging in some aspects, with a new team for battle and tuning. So that's funny. That's interesting. But we have returned the team structure to the members of the past. Wow. Crazy that he straight said it. In addition to the director, Nakatsu, who we all know and love, is now able to check and approve all tuning in detail. He was short on time as general manager, but now he gives final approval for every detail of battles and tuning. This is a harsh reality of game development. You would think that the director of the game would pretty much be privy to every balance aspect of what the game is going through? Absolutely not, bro. You have gameplay teams, right? It is still the director's fault that shit went down, but My dude, this development team, Tekken 8 is a massive game. We're talking hundreds of people. Saying he's short on time as a manager, but he gives final approval now. Like now he's like, no, nothing goes through approval until it hits my face. Something was messed up. As a director of a game, you would think that they would have to check off literally every single thing. No, there is no time for that shit, man. You don't just worry about the gameplay alone. If you're a director, it's everything. There are a lot of cooks in the kitchen on these games, and this is a huge part of game development that will severely compromise projects, how they get approved and where they go, and who says yes to shit. So as you all know, he comes from the fan community and was a writer for a game magazine and strategy articles. He's also in charge for battles and tuning in Tag 2 and Tekken 7. So I don't think there's anything to worry about in the future. It personally felt like Nakatsu, especially in the interviews and in the Tekken talks, was pretty in tune with what people wanted. Like straight up, he was addressing the issues we had, talking about it, and talking about their plans to address them. Remember that Tekken talk before? I'm like, bro, this is great. They know, God, they're listening. This is sick. And then all of a sudden, game comes out and it's like, why are the characters fucking crazy? Something did not line up. You don't need members of the past. You need an entire new team, including you and Ring Nakatsu. This is some scorched earth Tekken fan shit. So that's what happens with that new team. Also, I already know that you don't need me for much longer. I've been trying to resolve this for a few years, so wait. Yeah, what Harada is saying, you don't need members of the past, you outright need an entirely new team. Bro, the new team is the reason that shit happened. There was clearly some communication and disconnect in terms of what Tekken is as a video game, and Tekken 8 Season 2 happened. Let's just kind of acknowledge that, no, bro, jumping after these people is not like the reason. They identified that, okay, so some of the folks that were in charge in this may not have been in charge. We're bringing back the people that kind of worked on Tekken 7 and Tag 2. He pretty much admits that their new team missed the mark. People are saying we don't need old Tekken heads, we need new Tekken heads. Well, these are the new Tekken heads are the ones that made Season 2. So this is what happens. That's why we're going back. This is what bugs me about most video game communities. They only love you when you satisfy them. Once they are upset about something, decades of life's work and legacy become meaningless. There is no respect for decades of work. Well, that's an interesting. Yeah, well, you know, people are just big mad at the moment. But that's how the world works. What makes it a little different from other genres is that you have a single-player RPG that have a constant rating from time of release. But competitive games, statistically speaking, have much different ratings later on. Depending on the time of the year, that's the difficult part. Yeah, because fighting games will change. Fighting games will go through changes. People are going to be like, I liked Season 1 more. This shit sucks. This is a pretty huge admission, very upfront, and talking about what's going on and just addressing it directly in ways that developers don't really do this, especially Japanese developers. Acknowledging that there was like communication and like some management issues with their gameplay teams is huge, man. I get it. A lot of people are looking at Tekken 8 and just wanting it to go into scorched earth, end it all, burn it all and shit, but that is like not beneficial for the future of Tekken. You're gonna get an entirely redesigned brand new Tekken that doesn't play anything like the other ones. And how do I know this? Because Tekken 8 Season 2 exists. You got a Tekken game that literally was off the rails as fuck and was trying to become something completely different than it even was in Season 1. It's still ultimately their fault, right? And I'm not excusing what happened in Season 2 as like, oh, we can brush that under the rug. However, clearly a path moving forward to fix that shit, and I enjoy this game and I want to see it fixed. But yes, them straight up saying, yeah, we brought in new teams to do shit, and they're not doing that shit anymore. We're going back to the old teams. Like, the old Tekken heads are coming back now. It's funny in hindsight, but it very much lines up with the concerns I had at the very start. How the hell is the messaging of this so backwards? Like, how the hell could these devs be on stream talking about all this shit that sounds really cool, but there's all this other shit that just negates it? It's like, wait, what? It truly felt like people were not talking to each other. And this is a massive communication breakdown. This is a massive, like, managerial breakdown. The idea is that they don't want to likely rush this stuff, but they want to give you pieces every month. They want to give you an idea of where the game's going, because Tekken 8's going through it right now, man. And I can understand why people are dropping off, because it's just wow.